Hmm? PvP? Hatchet spam? I'll have you know, sir, this is an honorable household, and we ain't no low testosterone, single digit IQ, no brain having M1 spamming bitches here. So let me give you a little quick lesson on how to deal with these clowns. Do you want this fight? Do you really want this fight? That's what I thought. Oh, it's on, motherfucker! That was the wrong decision you made! Okay, come here! That better have been a mess on purpose. Okay, now you hit me. You asked for it, buddy. Good morning, degenerates. I come to you today atop my holy fortress with some information for you. So, it's time we dealt with the hatchet question. These filthy little apes spamming that M1 button, stagger locking you in place and you're not able to get anywhere. So I figured I'd make a little quick build since Mage seems to be a little bit underpowered. So I hope this helps someone. But this is how to be big dick without being pathetic. So, first step of this is obviously starting off with the build itself, right? So, currently, I've got my life staff and I've got my fire staff equipped. That's all I've really been using. Although, to be honest, you can probably go ahead and pick up either a hammer or a sword and shield, because the CC for that is going to be great, especially once you've hit level 30. Though this build is viable before then. So, let's go through the talents quickly. Let's go through our masteries right here. So personally for me, I'm going to be picking up a Warhammer because I like the AoE CC and I've just seen how good it is for chasing people down who decide to run from you, after you've kind of already smacked them in the face with your fire staff. So, the first and most important weapon to level up in this build is the fire staff. So, I'm going to be going through my build. I'm going to be telling you why I've picked certain talents, how I've picked certain talents. And damn it, you best like this damn video because I'm spending Azoth just for you. So, when building your mage, when building a big dick mage, I would say the first thing you want to go for is probably flamethrower over here. It's going to be your bread and butter spell. It's going to be the thing you use the most. So, before anything else, I would say build out your flamethrower entirely. So the entire idea behind building out the flamethrower first is it's better to actually have one full functioning big dick skill as opposed to 3 really crappy ones. So you're going to go flamethrower, then you're going to increase its damage by 25%, then you're going to increase its range, and then you're going to make sure you can move a little bit faster than whatever you're burning down. Now the next thing you want to get is this lovely Incinerate spell right here, because this has a knockback. When you use this ability, it bumps your enemies back. So that gives you space, especially when you're being chased down. You gotta remember that M1 Hatchet spam is a real plague on this game so far. It might get patched out, it might not, but honestly, if you use this, your chances of survival go up infinitely. Now, the next step beyond this is not actually to go to Fuel the Fire. What you want is you want Burning Agony, because the slower your enemies are, the more chance you have of dodging their abilities. So Burning Agony is crucial in this build. I would say at this point the build is viable. At this point, things get very interesting. So from this stage, I wouldn't actually spec more into Pyromaniac. I would go and pick up Advanced Sorcery, because that 10% reduction in cooldown is incredible. You are going to need this, especially if you want to fight. You know you're going to be running out of mana, and you know you're going to want your skills on cooldown as quickly as possible. So from this point, we're then going to go into Fuel the Fire. We're going to increase that damage. We're then going to go into getting a Prophet of a Fire God, as opposed to getting the Flame Out. Now this is very important, because you have to remember your Flamethrower is your bread and butter. Your Flamethrower is your key ability here. Then, once we've done that, we go for Flame Out. Now you'll notice at this point, we've increased the radius, but we still can't select this lovely ability right here, this Combust ability. So what we've got to go and do is build back into this tree, because we won't be able to get this spell boost, this buff, until we've actually gone back and stuck something in here. Now my personal suggestion is to go for Flame Barrier. I've tried out Trial by Fire, it doesn't really work. If someone is in a 4-meter radius of you, they're already wrecking your ass. There's no point in doing this. So I would say pick out Physical Armor, because that'll give you that little bit more survival, and it's really, really good, especially when you're getting stagger locked, you've lost all your stamina, and there's still a chance you can get out and recover. Then go into Combust. Now once you're at this point in the tree, you don't really have any good options, right? You can go Demonic Ascension, and it's pretty good for dealing with other mages, though you should be out boosting them with all this damage here. So what I personally like is going for Pyromania. This is purely based on the idea that you can trap people into chasing you down. Your health falls super low, they come after you, they sprint, they start getting very, very greedy for that kill. You wait until your Incinerator's off of cooldown, you slap down this ability, and what happens is you stun the hell out of them with how much damage you've done, because now you've got Prophet of a Fire God, you've set out your Incinerate. If you've been through combat and you're that low, you should have a burning stack on them, and you then slap them with this Pyromania. It is devastating. Now you'll notice, I haven't really mastered the Fire Staff yet. I still have six talent points to go. So, from here the build gets a little bit interesting, because you get a little bit of variety of what you can do, but ideally what you want before anything else is getting to Summoner's Gift over here. Increasing that mana pool is going to be crucial, especially for those longer fights. This is going to be a war of attrition, and if you're dealing with people with a lot of health, Summoner's Gift is going to be a blessing. So what you're probably going to want to go for is Demonic Ascension into Siege of Fire. Now Siege of Fire, you're not going to use that much. However, when it comes to wars, when it comes to sieges, when it comes to battling in large groups, Siege of Fire can be a real blessing, because you don't have to be anywhere near the people you are doing a lot of damage to. So I would go, my next point, level 15, Demonic Ascension. The point after that, level 16, Siege of Fire. The point after that, level 17, Summoner's Gift. Now that leaves us with 3 points left. Now we can either, at this point, spec into Pillar of Fire and complete this tree, which is pretty decent. I quite like this, because you can trap people into running into you. If you plant your Pillar of Fire on yourself, you can use it the same as Incinerate. Although honestly, I don't really like that, because, well, why not just use Incinerate, especially if you've already got the cooldown. So I like a little bit more versatility. we're going to pick up Artillery Expert, then Death from Above. Now this gives you another big dick spell that you're not going to be using that often, and you're going to be using these two primarily in 1v1s. If it comes to a war or a siege or anything like that, you can use these abilities from a fairly safe range, and it's likely that you'll be able to kill your opponents. So let's go ahead and lock that in. Right then, on to the next magical little wizard staff. We've got to go for the life staff. Now, keep in mind that this entire tree, all you have to really do is refresh, and that's all you need. Now, this part of the tree is absolutely mandatory. You need this dash. This dash will save your life. Having mobility in a PvP game, in an action combat game, is king. I promise you, I played Dark Souls for a very long time. You are going to need this right up until the point that it's nerfed into the dirt. But until that happens, build this. Now the point of this little ability here is obviously decrease your cooldowns again. So obviously you want to spec into refresh here, get that 10% cooldown, then jump into getting speed of light, get the furthest distance you can, and you can start to juke people with this. You can make sure that when you're on that low health, you can dash out, run away, recover, and then come back in. Remember, there's no such thing as one-shotting in this game, which means that you have to be strategic. You have to think about what you're going to be doing next. You can't just run in and be a clown. Now, my personal favorite after this is you've kind of got an option. You could go for Resuscitate, you could go for Spirits United, or you could go for Arcane Justice for that little bit of healing. This is primarily for yourself, not your allies. No one's going to be butt-hugging you at 4 meters radius. So we might as well go for Spirits United. This is my personal favorite, especially because at this current point in time, mages run out of mana fast, and it sucks when you do. You cannot auto attack, you cannot use any of your spells, and all you're doing is waiting for your mana to regen to the point that you can start fighting back. So that's why I pick Spirits United. This 25% mana regeneration is gigantic. It is really important, and so I would say use this ability right here. Now at this point, you could leave this. You could not touch this whole tree again, and it's perfectly viable. That's perfectly fine and good for you, but I'm going a full mage build. We're going a big dick mage here. So I'm personally going to be picking up Celestial Projectile. I find it very useful, especially when I have an ally in the area, and it's a group fight. Now, you could pick up Arcane Justice, like I said before, but personal flavor for me, I find that I can just use it because I aim at getting Divine Embrace. So the next thing I get is Mana Flow. This is very important, especially if you're at a distance, if you're at range, and you're good at aiming your life staff. Now, this is crucial for me because every time you hit someone with a life staff, if you regenerate the mana that you wasted on an auto attack, it gives you a better chance of regenerating enough mana that by the time the person reaches you after you've dashed, you can then start to switch back to your fire staff and start slapping them down once more. Now I'm going to go into Divine Embrace next. I've chosen Divine Embrace over Healing Pulse purely because this is a heal over time. Combat can be fast, especially if you're dealing with Hatchet spammers, M1 spammers. They will kill you instantly. This will not have time to heal you. This Divine Embrace, being a direct heal immediately, jumps you back up. Now the unfortunate part about Divine Embrace is it is super expensive to use. It takes like a third of your mana bar. So after this point, you can go into either Royal Privilege or Resuscitate. Personally, I think I prefer Royal Privilege. Let's not go on about the privilege word here. But I prefer it purely because it means that I get to regen mana faster, I can get back into the fight faster, my opponent has more pressure on them and less of an opportunity to regen. If I'm using Resuscitate, that means I've probably lost the fight already, although once I've got this Divine Embrace filled out, I'll probably pick up Resuscitate anyway. Again, just like my Fire Staff, you'll notice here that I haven't filled out the life staff tree. So what do you go after this? Well, personally, we're going to go level 11 into Resuscitate, then level 12. We're going to go into Light's Grace after that for level 12, especially since we've now dunked down the cost of this spell. Then, at level 13, we're going to go for Sacred Protection, get that extra healing, get that extra HP. It's good if you're in group combat. It's exceptional purely for yourself when you're soloing. Having that extra health is really, really crucial. Right, so then level 13, we're then going to go back all the way to the beginning of the Lifestealer tree, and we're going to pick up Arcane Rage. This is really nice because as a mage, it's usually you're either at 100, you're at 50, or you're at 0. There are no one-shots in this game, but generally, if you can stay at a high health, you can do a lot of damage. So this is pretty decent. Then after that, level 14, personally, I'm going to go for Arcane Justice, although you can pick up Soul Steel. I would say it's an either or here, but I just prefer this because at this point, it's that little bit of regeneration and you need to worry less about stopping and healing yourself. Right, then at level 16, what I would personally suggest going into, I would suggest picking up Healing Pulse. Now, this isn't the best spell, like I said before, it's a heal over time, but we're building into this tree because having a secondary heal can be good not just for you, but for your allies. If you're able to run, if you're able to pull someone away, this still costs less than this ability, right? Especially if you're on low health, if you can dodge out the way and you can get enough distance between you and your opponent, some healing is better than none. I still prefer this, like I said in the beginning, but it's not bad. So level 16, Healing Pulse, level 17, Protector's Blessing, level 18, Karmic Concentration. Now at this point, we should have 10 points in this tree. Now we're at level 18, and I would suggest as your level 19 that you pick up Ancient Guardian. This is purely because this is a nice panic button. You don't have to worry about it. It's passive. It happens by itself. This gives you more survivability. It is great to have out. Just make sure to whip out your life staff and make sure you have that ready to have this passive go off. I would say your other option at this point is you could pick up Transcendence, but this relies on the auto attack, and if you can't aim the auto attack, if you're not good at it, it's not going to work out for you. These are the points I'm going with. Like I said, you only really need these 4 skills here to make this a viable build. Now then, on to the next important part of being a big dick mage. If you look at our abilities, we have 2 in each of these. Now what's very important for you to do is select the slots where you put your 2 abilities. And like I said before, get 2 strong abilities, or at least 1 very strong ability in each tree before moving on to the next. Now you'll notice something very interesting about the combat in this game. If I pull out my life staff here, and I use my dash, there's a cooldown on my E ability there. It'll be F default, but you know what? I changed it because this makes more sense to me. Now if I switch to my fire staff, I still have my 2 attack abilities here. They're not on cooldown. Let's just drink a potion for the memes. That was definitely on purpose. But anyway, back to my point. You'll notice that my fire spells only go on cooldown in the slots they're in. If I switch back to my life staff, I still have my dash, which is very important to make sure that you've got as much mobility as possible, you've got as much CC as possible, especially when you're dealing with hatchet spammers. This is a very important thing to do. Make sure that you choose these slots where you put your spells very, very carefully. So the final thing I think to talk about before sending you on your way to go burn everyone to death and meme on them and then, you know, spam the C button over their corpses like the legendary death mage you are, just like good old Gandalf did to the Balrog, is your attributes. Now, I'm going to try and spec my intelligence and my constitution. There's a definitive reason for this. I am going a pure mage build. I'm not so worried about doing damage with any other ability. I did say I am going to be picking up a hammer. However, the hammer is for CC, not for damage. So I've gone nothing into strength. I've gone nothing into dexterity. I've gone full into intelligence and full into constitution. There's a reason as well why I haven't touched focus. So intelligence is very important. Trust me, as someone who has to live with very little of it, it's very important. And so is constitution. Now personally, I'd go at this with a ratio of maybe 3 intelligence points for every 1 constitution point, although you can kind of switch these around depending on what equipment you have and just how much damage you're able to get out and what you're comfortable with. how tanky you really want to be. Now, the most important thing for you to know about the mage build is do not waste your valuable hard-earned points on focus. It is currently a worthless skill. Let me show you why. So if you look at the focus ability here, if I spend 5 whole points in focus, that is 5 levels of points. All I get out of it is 11% mana regeneration and 3% cooldown. That 3% cooldown is not worth it. It will not save you. It doesn't do anything. Focus is a worthless skill currently. I wouldn't put any points into it. I wouldn't waste my time at it. So comparatively, if I bump up my intelligence here by just 1 point, that is 11 points of increased damage right here on the Firestaff. You get way more out of bumping up your intelligence than you do out of bumping up your focus. So don't even bother. I would say it's a full-on waste of time. Comparatively as well, you can look at Constitution. Watch what happens when I put one singular point in. I'm sitting at 2,136 health. 2,211. This is huge. Huge. This is a huge difference. This is massive. This is the thing that'll save you from being stagger locked to death. This is the thing that'll give you the survivability you need to be able to survive anything. Not only that, but focus is worthless because you can always make up the mana regeneration rates with any of your weapon masteries. So don't even bother with that. Do not waste your time. I would say go Constitution and go Intelligence if you're going for a big dick mage build. Right, so that's going to be about it for me. For now, I hope you have a great day. I hope everything goes your way. Remember, go fuck up them hatchet spammers. Make them regret this. Do it. Do it for me. Do it for you, African warlord. Cheers for now. You lust. Oh, you wanted to pick this fight, huh? Ah. Come on, bitch. No. You wanted this fight. Oh, no. You started this.